I think the interesting part of that argument or that paradigm is you would think that the insurance company would know what a general full scope would be. So, like ice and water in that area is required or whatever it may be. Why would they intentionally leave that out if that's not up to code?
It's because it's a settlement agreement up until the point there's an actual contractor involved. They don't know the policyholder is going to do the work,
Right.
right?
Well, so I guess that, but I feel like you would have to assume if you're the, like you should be able to
So
pay for
states,
minimum.
there are states where it could potentially be carrier fraud if they underpay something knowingly.
Yeah.
But proving that is hard. And saying that something is required by code in this area requires evidence. This is an evidence-based system. If they don't approve something, they could easily claim that their adjuster didn't know that it was required in that area, even if the carrier as a whole would. So the real interesting thing is that they're all using AI. The AI would know what's required in that area. And if they're still underpaying claims, even using that AI, then potentially there's a lot of evidence to show that they directed the AI to write things underpayment wise. But in essence, still, until the policyholder says they're going to be doing the work, then it's still just a settlement agreement over what the actual cash value amount is anyway.
Yeah.
And the actual cash value amount is a negotiable amount. There's no specific way to come up with actual cash value. So if you think about it from that perspective, then it doesn't matter what the carrier does in the beginning until the policyholder provides them with a contract and an estimate that they've agreed to for the work that's going to be performed. Because only then does the carrier know that the work is actually going to be performed, and now they have to pay the full amount that is actually incurred.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's almost like you go into the homeowner and be like, they're like, how much is it going to cost? You're like, what do you want to pay? And they're like, well, I want to pay as little as possible. And then you agree to it, and then you're like, well, you didn't pay me enough to put on the ice and water. It's kind of like the same thing, but from the.
And then they can supplement for those additional items, and they can supplement for more if they actually hire somebody to do the work. But up until the carrier is made aware that they are going to be going for the RCV amount, they don't know that the work is going to be performed.
That's a funny thing. You wouldn't in a retail job. You wouldn't go to the homeowner and be like, how much do you want to pay for this?
Right.
You know,
No, you
you'd
wouldn't.
say, here's my scope of work. Here's everything. So why would it be any different for an insurance company?
It shouldn't be,
Yeah.
but because it is a negotiation, it is.
Yeah.
And that negotiation isn't necessarily fraud or illegal, at least in many states it isn't.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about as far as they're gonna I don't want to say lowball, but they're gonna give a lower estimate until you actually show what you're gonna do because they're like, well,
Yeah.
we're not trying to.
And the thing is, their lowball estimates, there are contractors that do the work for that crap.
Yeah.
They don't survive,
Yeah.
but they'll do it, and they'll cut a lot of corners. But because a contractor will be able to do it, it's almost defensible for them.
Yeah.
What are supplements really for? When should you submit one, and when should you not submit supplements? Well, this will probably go against everything that you know. Supplements are for unknown items, things that you come across that you weren't aware of. If you are tearing off a roof and you find another layer that you weren't aware of, or you find decking that has to be replaced, that might be a supplement because you weren't aware of it. Some plumbing has to be moved because if you were to actually install the roof, the plumbing may end up being damaged because it's up against the backside of the decking and you weren't aware of it. Those are supplement items. Or if something occurs during the job. I had a roofing job once where an interior ceiling fan fell from the ceiling because of all the vibrations on the roof. And we supplemented for that because it was an unavoidable thing that occurred, and the carrier paid for it as a supplement. That's what supplements are for. So what wouldn't you supplement for? Well, a lot of the supplements that are done in this industry right now are really inappropriate supplements. If it's known that you're going to have to do something, that shouldn't be a supplement. That should be an estimate that's provided to the carrier. This is how much we're going to charge you the job. Here's all the things. That's not a supplement. That's a bid. And that should be provided right away. Let the carrier know how much the job is going to cost. Get the policyholder to agree to that amount. Then it becomes an incurred cost. And then you only supplement for things that you didn't know about, things that you come across. That's what it's really supposed to be for. And if we did it that way, things would be a lot easier when we're talking to the insurance companies. A lot of you are not going to agree with a lot of the things that I say these days, and you're not going to agree with what I just said there. And that's okay. I want to have a discussion about it. Talk to me in the comments on it. All right, light me up. I can take it.